Hi, so in this video I'll explain RC circuit and I took a problem from OpenStax 10.56. This is the question, so please take a moment to look at it. Okay, so in an RC circuit I draw a simple circuit here. So this one's the capacitor, this one's the battery, and this one's the ohmic device, the resistor. I have to assume Ohm's law apply in order to use the equations I'm going to use in here. So Ohm's law applied, that means that the resistor essentially is not changing its resistance, and I'm assuming that there's no internal resistance between the wires. So if we look at the four equations, these two equations are actually the same thing, but I put it as different equations just to remind myself that I could use these two equations. For this question, I would assume, I would think that I might not need to use this equation, because in the question is said like 90% of its final voltage. It didn't explicitly say the final voltage. I do not have to find the voltage either, so I would assume that I could not find the delta VC, and this equation would not be used in this question. So I set the equation here, delta Vt equals to 90% delta Vc. That means that at time t equals to something, then the potential difference across the capacitor would be equals to 90% of its final voltage. So after I set up this equation, then note that the delta Vc can be cancelled out here, and that is exactly what I predicted when I said like I shouldn't be using this equation, because I wouldn't be able to find delta Vc. So as well, I wouldn't be able to find the charge inside the circuit. So after I cancel out the delta Vc, the only thing left to do is to find the tau, and then I could find t. So tau is equal to RC, and I have RC values in the problem, so I just plug in the values here, and then I solve the t. So after I solve the t, I have 0.0173 seconds. That means that if I charge the capacitor for 0.0173 seconds, then the capacitor would reach to 90% of its final voltage, given that the battery here supports the maximum given that the capacitor supports the maximum voltage the battery can charge. So another thing I should be noting here is in this problem is talking about charging, but if this is talking about discharging, then a similar equation is used, and the equation is this one. So this is how I think about these two equations. Is if I set t is equals to infinity, that means that I charge the capacitor for infinite time, or I discharge the capacitor for infinite time. In this equation, if I charge the capacitor for infinite time, this thing goes to 0, and Q would be essentially equals to Q naught. That means that at the final stage, the capacitor will have its maximum charge or maximum voltage. But in here, when this thing goes to 0, then Q at its final time would be equals to 0. That means that all the charges is discharged. And that is the RC circuit. Thank you so much.